Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. It's time to take an adventure with rugged capability and commanding style. Check out the Honda Ridgeline, Pilot, or CRV. For a limited time, well-qualified buyers can get a 3.99% APR on a 2025 Pilot, a 1.99% APR on a 2025 Ridgeline, or a 2.99% APR on a 2025 CRV.
See dealer for financing details.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Attack the Baseline, a WNBA podcast where every episode we attack our baseline knowledge of the WNBA. I'm your host, John, joined with my co-host, as always, Kristen, and today we're starting a new season as we lead up to the 2025 WNBA season, a look at every team composition, one by one, in little bite-sized, fun 15 to 20-minute podcasts, starting with the Golden State Valkyries. We're going to get into all of that today, but before that, Kristen, how's it going?
It's going great. I'm on spring break at my school/work.
Love it.
I do have a big event coming up at the beginning of May, so I still had to work a little bit today, but I was home, I was relaxing, looking at salaries.
Yeah, looking at WNBA salaries.
That's what I do in my free time.
And it's what I want to do in all my free time as well. I thought about it all day today at work. I was like, I need to finish the last 5 teams that I haven't done yet. I need to know what their starting 12s are going to be, or their 12-person rosters are going to be. So, like I mentioned, as we started this episode, this series is one that you can look forward to for basically every other day for the next 25 to 26 days before the tip-off of the next WNBA season. Going to be our preseason primer. Now that the draft is done, free agency's done, the trades are done, we have an idea about what these teams actually are, and we're excited to break them down in the order of how they finished last year. So from the bottom to the top record-wise, that's what you can expect for the order of operations here, starting with the Valkyries because they didn't have a team last year, so naturally they should be the first ones to start. Before we get into that, if you'd like to send us an email, you could do so at our email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com, or you can connect with us on Bluesky or Instagram at ATBPod. So, Kristen, the Golden State Valkyries. Let's talk about the Golden State Valkyries.
Let's.
Brand new squad here in 2025. So when we look at, we broke these lists down into departures and arrivals, and their departure list is naturally empty. Nobody to talk about leaving because they never existed. So we'll start with the arrivals. Why don't you tell our audience who the 11 players that were selected in the expansion draft, if they forgot who those players were.
Or if you didn't pay attention back then and you're just joining the conversation of the W now, welcome. That's really what we do this for. New fans.
Yes.
And to remind people.
Right.
So we did have a very exciting expansion draft months ago. And the Valkyries took one player from every team except from the Seattle Storm. So they took 11 players. They took Stephanie Talbot from the Sparks. See if I can name all of them. Kayla Thornton from the Liberty. Monique Billings from the Mercury. Cecilia Zandalasini from the Lynx. Temi Fagbenley from the Fever. Veronica Burton from the Sun. Carla Lady from the Wings. Kate Martin from the Aces. Maria Conde from the Sky. Ileana Rupert from the Dream. And Julie Von Lowe from the Mystics.
Perfect. Yeah, pretty good. You nailed it. 11 for 11. And a team that had no selection made, Seattle Storm. If you remember the meme of they're just doing their own thing. Nobody's looking over here. The Storm were not acknowledged in the expansion draft. And that was just kind of chaotic. So in free agency, the Golden State Valkyries supplemented their team with one marquee free agent, one Tiffany Hayes, signing with Golden State and coming over with her friend Kate Martin to make up the social media team for the Golden State Valkyries while she was busy with Unrivaled.
And the faded Laces team of Unrivaled.
True.
Who should have done better. But now the energy of the Laces now lives on in the Valkyries.
Right. And they also signed Letitia Ama here, and they supplemented their team with 5 training camp contracts of players that may or may not make the team. We won't mention all of them because in a lot of the cases here, these training camp contracts are players that we are very unfamiliar with, most likely international players or WNBA draft picks from years ago that they're just getting another opportunity to maybe make a team. So instead of butchering some of their names, we're just going to mention the number of training camp contracts that the team has added, unless it's a player that we all are very familiar with. So let's get into it. I mean, the idea when the Golden State Valkyries were formed, I think there was a lot of thought that they were going to go out and sign 2 or 3 big free agents. There was always the Kelsey Plum rumors, and ultimately, Tiffany Hayes is the only player that they add of significance, let's say, in free agency. They sign her to a nice $200,000 unprotected contract, but make her the highest player in their salary books. Any thoughts on the striking out of players for the Valkyries? Do you feel like there's a reason why?
I mean, I don't know if you could say that they struck out. Did they try?
Well, the rumors certainly were that they tried.
Sure. But I think that they quickly made it clear that that's fine, that we didn't get big name free agents. And they're clearly just okay going in this other direction of being very young and international.
Right.
And I think, that's going to do what they need it to do for the next couple years and hopefully be able to get them more big name free agents in years to come. They need some sort of starting point. And I think we'll see what happens, but I think they'll be fine in what they want to do. They want to give new international players time to play and time to grow, and they want to get future draft picks.
Right. So in the lead up after free agency's done and the expansion's done, we had the draft last week. They added 3 picks in the WNBA draft. They had picks 5, pick 17, and pick 30. With the 5th pick, they selected Yusta Yokite, a player that they will most likely stash. There has not been any news about her coming over right away, so she'll stay and play in Europe another season. They selected Shyanne Sellers, which many people consider the steal of the draft, a projected first-round talent that falls to them at 17. And then they also selected a UConn fan favorite, Caitlin Chen, in that 30th spot. With those 3 draft picks, what are your thoughts? Do you think they had a good draft?
Yeah, I think they did what they needed to do in the draft. They got a very high upside international young player in Yusta Yokite. She's 19, has played overseas her whole life, although she was born in the United States. So it's kind of like an interesting situation where she like technically is from the US, so like should only be picked that she's 22, but because she's been playing overseas her whole life, she was able to be drafted when she's 19.
Right.
She did say that she has already committed to playing for Lithuania during the FIBA Women's Eurobasket tournament this July. That is really only like 2 weeks long.
Yeah, worth mentioning, mid-season tournament, big mid-season tournament.
Yes, for European players, which will definitely affect some of these teams.
Right.
So it's definitely possible that she chooses to stay in Lithuania and play with Lithuania the whole season, since she definitely is playing in this Eurobasket with them.
Right. Right.
But she seems like she will be a great player when she decides to come over. So like just we're planning for the future with that, which is great. Shyanne Sellers, you said it, definitely like a steal of the draft. She potentially is hurt. We are not sure of all those details, although that really is the rumor of why she fell so far in the draft.
Right.
That she may be hurt.
Right.
But it didn't seem like that drastic of an injury. So I would hope that that doesn't affect her making the team or anything.
Yeah, it would be pretty crazy for her not to make this team, considering this is the team that doesn't have any identity yet. And she's a player with really good size that can play, a really quality 2-guard role. So I would really be shocked if she didn't make a team. And if she were to be cut by the Valkyries, she would be scooped up almost immediately by some other team, unless it's like really, really bad. But she's a rookie, so just give her a shot.
And then Caitlin Chen, I think everyone is going to be rooting for her to make this Valkyries team. She was like, it was such a fun, exciting thing when she was drafted, because Paige said when Paige was drafted, I hope you guys will draft my UConn teammates. And both of them ended up getting drafted, one of them being Caitlin Chen. So that was exciting. But I do think how this roster is kind of shaping up, that she may not have a spot on the team.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
That would be a bummer, because she played for the Ivy League 2 years ago and was top player in 2023 for the Ivy League. She came to UConn to win a tournament and to hopefully get drafted. She did both of those things.
Right.
So she's just like on this trajectory, and I think she would fit well with other players on this team and, you know, the direction that the Valkyries want to go in. So we will see what happens with Caitlin Chen. Someone like Veronica Burton may be cut instead of her.
Definitely one of the swingish position. Maybe Carla Leite. We're going to very shortly get into the 12 players that we have making the roster. Because I will say, I'll preface this exercise, we used as much cap space as we could. As Kristen pointed out to me as I was doing this, a lot of teams last year went into the season with 11. Reminder that at minimum, you have to have 11 players. At maximum, you can have 12 players. A problem with the league, need to expand rosters. And I would assume with the CBA, once they up the salary cap, there will be, you know, an opening to maybe 14 or hopefully even 15 players, which is a WNBA or an NBA roster. So I'm hoping that in the future, we're not sort of splitting hairs on some of these players and, you know, knocking them off of our projected rosters because that there's just not enough room to bring them in. So let's take a look at what we project to be the starting 5 players. I will mention that the team is carrying in 3 guaranteed contracts this year. So players that if they were to be cut, they would still be fully guaranteed in their salary because they're protected veterans. That would be Stephanie Talbot, that would be Kayla Thornton, and that would be Monique Billings. So you would assume that at the very least, those 3 players will be making the team. And then from there, we build out our roster. So do you want to name our starting 5, our projected starting 5?
Sure. I will say this is John's starting 5. As I'm going through this, I may have an edit.
Sure.
We'll see.
It's my starting 5, but you can say it.
That's fine. We have Julie Von Lowe starting at point guard. We have Tiffany Hayes at shooting guard, Monique Billings, small forward, Kayla Thornton, power forward, Temi Fagbenle as the center.
That is how I feel the starting 5 will be as it stands right now. Of course, you took a pause after Julie Von Lowe. Totally could see Kate Martin being the starting point guard for the team, considering the position that they selected her and how excited they've been about her and how visible she's been in their social media. But I do think Julie Von Lowe is a very experienced player, a very experienced European player who started a lot of games at point guard with Washington last year. So that's why I penciled her in here for the starting point guard role.
No, I agree with that. I think that makes sense. I think there's a way that they could put Kate Martin in instead of Monique Billings and just have a smaller lineup. I think they're really pushing Kate Martin as like a centerpiece of this team.
Totally.
So people are going to want to see her start. Golden State Valkyries, the first team to sell out 10,000 season tickets.
Yep.
They are coming for Kate Martin.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to have to start one way or another.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's very fair. I think, and if not, maybe Julie starts the first game and then they decide, okay, Kate's got the juice.
No, don't get me wrong. I love Julie Von Lowe. Maybe I'm like Julie Von Lowe's number 1 stan. You are, what's her name?
Alicia Gray?
No.
Leonie Phoebish?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
You're Leonie Phoebish's number 1 stan.
I'm pretty up there.
I can be Julie Von Lowe's number 1 stan.
Sure.
Those are our like European players that we back. No, I think she will start as a point guard. I think she is a very good point guard, and I don't understand why the Mystics didn't protect her.
Yeah.
But here she is now on the Valkyries. I think she will start.
Von Lowe, a player that is just on a training camp contract too. She is not signed on a regular contract. So, you know, she would be very easy for them to cut bait on. But if they do, she will immediately sign.
Oh,
Especially Julie Von Lowe.
yes.
Good player.
Yeah. And something to think about is, as we were going through these contracts, the salary cap is $1,500,000 approximately.
Right, roughly.
The salary minimum requirement is $1,260,000 roughly.
Right.
The Valkyries currently are almost $90,000 under the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
I say currently, how we think the roster may play out.
Right.
And they have these 12 players. So many of these players are on very cheap contracts.
Right.
So they're going to need to give some players some more money.
Correct.
I do think it makes sense to have Julie Von Lowe on the team and give her some more money.
Yeah.
In a contract that she signs that's after this training camp contract.
Right. So all things considered, Julie gets through training camp. They agree that she should be a star, one of the guards on the team. They sign her to a fuller contract and they use that money. Otherwise, at the end of the season, if they don't reach that salary minimum, then they just owe the difference to their players, which is kind of funny. Mm-hmm. But I would expect every team to be over the minimum. And I think there's very few scenarios like this where Golden State is a team that has kept it low in the salary.
Well, there's really like no one else that they could give this money to, unless someone else is like allowed to sign a new contract.
It would be if they sign somebody else from
right. They would have to go get someone else that somehow is worth more than
the difference,
$100,000.
Right.
I don't know who that is, just laying around.
I hope Julie Von Lowe gets paid because I should say, did you count the training camp contracts toward the salary?
Yeah, I did.
Because technically they don't count.
No, I know they don't count.
Right.
But that's at least a baseline.
True.
Of what they could cost.
Attack it.
Yeah.
The baseline.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we fill out the rest of our team? After the starting five, we have Kate Martin, Veronica Burton, Stephanie Talbot, Letitia Amahir, Shyanne Sellers, Carla Leite, and Cecilia Zandalicini to round out 12. And that means that, as we mentioned, Caitlin Chen would be on the outside looking in here. Certainly could see her making the 12-person staff, but it's really going to depend on how she does going into training camp. But that's what we kind of look to be the 12-person roster for the Golden State Valkyries first season. Then they would stash Yusta Yokite, Ileana Repair, and Maria Conde, those players that we mentioned early on.
Mm-hmm. So, John, what do you think are the strengths and weaknesses of this team?
They certainly have a lot of willing guards, shooting guards. That is something that Coach Natalie Nakase has mentioned is her blueprint. She wants to shoot a lot of threes and play fast. So it's going to be pertinent to have players that are on the smaller side or on the more athletic side. Did you ask me about their bad things? Or just the
strengths and weaknesses.
The bad things. I couldn't think of the word weaknesses. Weaknesses here, pretty obvious. They do not have hardly any size. Kayla Thornton should not be necessarily starting at the 4. I think the best position is for her to be in that 3 spot and to have somebody a little bit bigger than Kayla Thornton to start at the 4. And they don't really have that. Tammy Fagbenle is the really one and only honest center that I see on this squad. Letitia Amahir is a player that has very few minutes, if any, in the WNBA. Mm-hmm. I cannot recall watching her play last year. And we just kind of put her here because we know she has some extra size and the team has no size. So honestly, I could very much see maybe 2 of these names on the list getting cut in order to sign a big that another team leaves off of their roster following training camp. Mm. So it's a pretty glaring weakness, and it will lead to a lot of losses for this Valkyrie squad. Is there anything that you see as far as the strength is concerned?
I mean, as far as the strength
or a weakness or a bad thing?
I mean, it's obviously the size. It's, they have no one that can compete with the Jonquel Joneses, the Brittany Griners
Correct.
of the world, so that they will get beat at the rim.
Yeah.
But I do think this will be a very fast, high energy team.
Yes.
So they could run quickly up the court and beat you in that sense. So I think this is one of the easier teams to say what the strengths and weaknesses are.
Totally.
Yes.
Totally. So at the end of the day, the Golden State Valkyries, out of 13, how do you have them finishing on the season?
I have the Golden State Valkyries finishing 13th.
Ditto. 13th spot for the Golden State Valkyries. I think it's exactly where they want to be.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's fine.
And I will not try to say that they're tanking, because their team is bad.
But the team is like exciting
It's
and
exciting.
young. It still will be a fun team to watch, I
Correct.
think.
Correct. There's a very big difference of a
Yes.
team that like is slow and plodding and doesn't want to win, and versus a team that's like young and hungry but doesn't have enough, star power or offensive firepower or defensive firepower to win against some of these other teams. Because if you look around the league, a lot of rosters got a lot better than last year, and we're going to get into all of that as we continue this series. Anything else to say about the Golden State Valkyries?
I hope, as I mentioned before, they have sold out 10,000 season tickets. That's incredible. I love that for them. I hope that the fans stick around through it.
Yeah, right.
I hope.
Important.
Right. I hope that these fans are not expecting this team to make the playoffs, be a super good team right away.
Right.
So that's my hope. That next year, when they're better, maybe they get the first overall draft pick this year.
Lauren Betts.
They can draft Lauren Betts and be so much better next year.
Certainly a position in need.
So that's my hope for the Valkyries.
There you go. Golden State. I hope everything goes well for listener Tim. He enjoys his first year having a WNBA team to follow, and we can just have fun following the Golden State Valkyries. So that's going to do it for our first team composition pod as we lead up to the 2025 WNBA season. If you'd like to send us an email, again, you could do so at our email, attackthebaseline@gmail.com, or you could connect with us on Bluesky and Instagram at ATBPod. 5-star rating and review help us grow and reach other folks that want to learn about the WNBA. It's the time to learn, because there's going to be a lot of hoops to follow soon. But Kristen, I'm staring at the baseline. What are we going to do?
Attack it.
Attack the baseline. Thank you so much for listening, and we will be back with our next team, the Los Angeles Sparks.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.